Hey everybody, it's Rob Armstrong with Long Island Sounds. Thanks for tuning in. Today's episode is going to be my long-term brother from another mother, Leon Reval. I hope you enjoy. So, Leon, thanks for joining the Long Island Sounds new podcast. Hope everything's going well with you.
Man, very well. I'm really happy to be the pilot sitting next to you as you take us in. You get us in the seats. You make sure that the doors are closed, and you start the engines, and away we go, man. I'm really happy to be here. Thank you.
Absolutely. So, typically, like every other interview, tell me about yourself. How did you get started? Tell me about tell you how you got started and how you got to where you are today.
Wow. Well, I am from New Mexico. I am a native New Mexican. I'm also Native American.
Hmm.
And I'm also Hispanic as well, Spanish side from Spain, and I just did a DNA, the 23andMe, about a couple of years ago, and I had always been told I was a certain. My background was, I had some Irish and Scot.
Oh yeah.
Completely baffled at to what it is. There's some Egypt and some North African, some more in there, and into Italy, some Italian, and then in Spain, and all the way down to my dad's side, which is predominantly the majority of Native American blood. So it was really cool. But anyway, um, lived in New Mexico up until the age of 18. And as cool as that was, I thought that it was time to leave the Southwest. And I thought, well, where can I go? Where's the furthest I can go? And I ended up in the coastline, the East Coast in Florida, and did some really cool things there. Attended the Art Institute, Fort Lauderdale, and
Oh yeah.
met some really cool people. Got some blood brothers there that I still. We don't ride or die as much as we do anymore. You know what I mean? But
Oh yeah.
with technology, it's so much easier because you can text and you can keep apprised of what's going on with one another.
Absolutely.
But yeah, we did the program,
So
and
what did you learn at the Art Institute of Fort Lauderdale?
oh man, well, we did recording. We it was really kind of cool because for a kind of vo-tech school,
Hmm.
it really encompassed all the fields, if you will, of what I now appreciate is how to be around a microphone. You
Okay.
learned audio recording, you learned
Hmm.
microphones, and you did broadcasting. They also mixed in some of the other general study stuff like science and math, and it was really comprehensive enough to make you as a student appreciate what it means to, okay, yeah, we're all excited. It was a time when it was high hair, it was rock and roll, and people wanted to kind of partake and be around that whole industry.
Is
But
that
it
the
was
fascination
also,
you had to get into the school to attend the Art Institute? Was that your fascination, the audio background, or?
that's a great question, and I'll tell you, I dabbled. I probably was the only kid in northern New Mexico that had a 50-piece drum set. Let me tell you, well, it was all in my head. I was the best damn air drummer ever.
There you go.
And I never could afford drums. But, I love just air drumming to different styles of music. And I just thought, it piqued something in me. So I was really envious of, you and others who could actually pick up an instrument and play. I should have taken guitar lessons a long time. I should have taken piano, and
No,
and I think
yeah.
that was one of the things when you get to a school like that. It's one of those. What was that TV program where all the kids went to the school in New York, and it was a musical and theater and dance. I can't think of the
High
name.
School Musical or
No,
School
it
of
was
Rock?
Irene Cara was the main character. Remember that school?
Flashdance?
Well, I was thinking Flashdance, but it was that school that encompassed, the arts. And I was like, I showed up to the school and I didn't even know how to dance. That's what I felt like. I was like, oh, but I picked up. I had this ear. I really was just fascinated with how the notes were played. And even though I didn't know what the notes were,
Hmm.
I could hear if they were in tune or not, or
Oh,
how they
sure.
fit in. And it was
Right.
really cool to be around and learn and be able to pick up things up like from yourself and other students and great teachers. But yeah, that was really not necessarily bitten by a bug, but it
Hmm.
was definitely something took me out east. And
Okay.
to be able to then flourish.
Yeah. Now,
And
did you just do a 2-year program or did you get a bachelor's?
they're actually they started maybe about 2 or 3 years after we graduated, so kind of into that timeline, a 4-year program. So you could do an associate's degree,
Hmm.
and then they opened up for a bachelor's of science degree. And I thought, well, I'm not only having too much fun, but I thought, okay, yeah, continued higher education. So I stuck around for the second part for the bachelor's degree, and I ended up getting in marketing and in business administration, which was again really cool because it was diverse and continued on. But I also got to just kind of hang out
Hmm.
and when I say hang out, I got to hang out with the associate students, and I got to be able to work in the studio and help coordinate certain things
Oh,
almost
yeah.
as a pseudo faculty member, which
Okay.
man was just so cool. And so being able to be recognized as somebody who was allowed, I
Hmm.
mean, I was just blown away, and it just made me want to do more. And eventually you kind of miss family. Been out there for 4 years away from family other than visiting. You know, I think that's when the bug bit me. And the bug
Okay.
bit me was like, go back west
Right.
and see what you can do there. And you kind of hindsight's a mother. And it's one of those things that I don't think it's a regretful term when you use the term hindsight, but it is one
Hmm.
of those things where like, did I make the right decision? And
Now, did you put your degree to work right away or?
oh man, no. And I think that was why I was so worried about, did I make the right decision? Should
Yeah.
I have stayed on the East Coast where there would have been more opportunity in music and other things? I ended up in El Paso, Texas,
Oh, wow.
and I couldn't find a job really in marketing. I mean, and again, and maybe my standard or at least my ego thought that I was up here
Hmm.
and I didn't need to start at the ground level. And even though that's not the case, more so in music
Right.
and in recording, but it was definitely the case, I think, in business. And
Hmm.
so I just couldn't find anything that fit something I wanted to do.
Right.
But that other term, twist of fate,
Okay.
needed a job, and of all places, ended up in a gentleman's club as a doorman. Yeah, kind of cool for the
Nice.
first 2 months. And then after a while, you're like, oh man, really? It's just like issue, but it was really cool because it taught me a couple of things. One, it taught me about group dynamics.
Okay.
It taught me about people. And one, I'm a big guy, but I never was a fighter.
Yeah.
I wore contacts. They were very expensive contacts, and to lose one, we're talking $500-600 out of pocket.
Oof.
And so I'm like, I'm not getting in a fight, and if you do, don't punch me in the face. So I learned how to talk
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
talk my way out of things and treat people with respect, I think was the biggest thing. So I had guys who were getting a little handsy with the girls,
Oh, yeah.
and I'd have to go up and I'd be like, oh man, he's going to swing on me. And they're, that Napoleon complex. And who do you think
Right.
you are,
Yeah.
big guy? I'm going to
Hmm.
kick your butt, punch me in the nuts or something. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh God.
The bigger
So I
they are,
just,
the harder they
well,
fall.
people get beer muscles, as they say.
Oh,
So I would,
yeah.
I would
Yep.
approach very delicately, very, very respectfully. And I would just go,
Diplomatically.
look, man, hey, look, they're watching us both. And I'll tell you what, if you settle down, I'll get you a drink. But if
Hmm.
you don't only get the drink, they're going to kick you out.
Hmm.
And chances are they might not let you back in tomorrow.
Right.
And then a guy would just kind of look at me, and all of a sudden I get these big bear hugs, which was kind of cool because I got to walk him out.
Yeah.
But that was, again, the dynamics of what I learned in Florida, what that carried on to El Paso. And I lasted as a doorman for about 4 months, and
Okay.
then the DJ who spins the records for the dancers never showed up, and the manager said, "Get up there and spin some records." And
So
I was
now
scared
you're
to
putting
death.
your degree to work.
Now we're doing stuff that's closely related on the broadcasting classes we took, but
Yeah.
not necessarily recording, which was still kind of cool though.
Oh, sure.
And so I got to work on presence. I got to work on, how to use my voice, the timbre, vibrato, the words that we learned, to
Amber.
the timbre, but to really, when I had to pitch something or introduce a young lady to a stage,
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to do it with presence, and people were going to be like, "Oh, we're going to stop what we're doing now, and that's so and so, or that's the drink." And so I got to do that, and I lasted for about close to 2 years, and I kind of got burnt out.
Give us a sample of your voice.
Ooh, we're going way back. All right, let me try this. Okay, so we're going to say $2 shots, $3 beers. That's the sales. And I'll say, okay. So the music, imagine you're in a dark club. Everyone, you got some lights, disco-ish, red blues flashing. Then I come up, song fades out. I'll go, all right, everybody. How about a big round of applause for Brandy? Brandy's going to head on over to the side stage. She's going to continue to tantalize you as we welcome up Mercedes. But before we do that, how about one more drink? $2 shots, $3 beers, get them while they're hot, just like our ladies. Hit the splong and it's in. And it was just kind of cool, because it was like you were, I felt a little bit like, I was not a rock star, but you have a microphone. And
Well, how did you discover your voice?
Oh man, that is a great question. I'll tell you this. This goes back to the AIFL days.
Okay.
So there was, and I don't know if you remember this, but one of our projects we had to do is we had to record a voiceover spot.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Well, the group I got picked with was interesting because, I listened to radio, I loved music, and, terrestrial radio was something that, we didn't have streaming, we didn't have anything else, satellite, it was terrestrial radio, and usually AM stations were playing this killer stuff. So I got to listen. And so when we did this class project, they said, well, Leon, you do the voice. And, we wrote a script, put up the microphones. I got in our booth, and I proceeded to do this deep kind of aggressive, because it was a rock concert.
Okay.
I was going to be like, oh, and tonight, it's Kicks. So it was like, so I went up there and I was like, tonight at the blah, 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 whatever it was, Kicks at 8:00, doors open at 5. And I'm just throwing it out there. And then the group go, no. Like, so that, you talk about your one shot.
Yeah.
And that was probably the first time I ever spoke into a microphone, quite frankly, in that capacity.
Yeah.
So to have your bubble burst right away, like, no, what are you, that's not good.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow. So they put a young lady on and she did it. And I thought, damn,
she sucks.
She sucks. So I flashed back to that time, and I had this big manager. And when I say big, I'm a big guy, but
Mm-hmm.
This guy, he had a rear end about the size of a Mack truck. Just a giant dude, not tall, but he reminded me of Porky's. Remember the guy from Porky from Porky's, a movie?
Oh, yeah.
He reminded me of him. Smoked cigarettes, and he had this really grizzled carnival-esque barker voice and talk like that. And I was like, whoa. So I tried to mimic him, and at the same time, tried to make sure I enunciated my words. So that was the craft that I learned that took me into radio, and from radio into politics. So
it seems like it came quite natural for you.
I absolutely, when I discovered the ability to get people to listen,
mm-hmm.
in that moment, again, I had to audition before they even hired me, because part of the requirement was doorman and anything else they needed, minus a bartender, because I had to have some credentials.
Oh, yeah.
But so I got on the guy hands me the microphone. You got to say this. And I'm like, what? So the first thing I thought about was back in Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah.
When my group said, God, that's not good. And I thought, oh my God, it's not good. So I'm sitting there just kind of going, okay, fellas. It was the worst audition ever. You know, all these beautiful hot girls in bikinis coming by going, that wasn't good. I was like, oh my God, I don't want to do this job.
Yeah.
But yeah, at that moment, I think something just was like, hey, you have something now. You can either run or you can come back and show them that, you know, you can do this and you can be good at it. And I just somehow just found this voice and this projection and these whatever breathing. And I don't know what I was doing. I was just doing it and just trying to make you, if I'm talking to you, feel like you could relate.
Okay.
And that's how I learned. And when I had to do radio, or when I got to do radio, that's exactly what I did. I just pretended I'm sitting there talking to somebody. I'm talking to nobody. I'm in a box, very much like I am now, looking at a wall with a microphone, and I'm playing music and talking about, you know, what's going to happen on Saturday at 8:00 at Joe's Sporting Goods. And, you know, it was just so cool to be able to feel like you're somebody else. And the first time I ever had to go out and do these remotes, which is for remotes, you know, people go out and you see them at car dealerships going, oh, we're here for Big Dog 95. We're giving away the new car. And so they're on location. I had people coming up to me, they go, you're Leon? And I couldn't find a cool name. Like, you know, the Lion.
Yeah.
That sounds stupid. So I just said, I'm Leon. I'm Leon Reval. And this is
Leo.
I tried everything. Dude. I tried Leo. I tried Leo the Lion. I tried what was some of the others? They were just not even Leon. It was just strange, you know. And I thought, that's not me. So I just was me.
Yeah.
And I had people coming up and they go, you're Leon? And they go, yeah. They go, oh man, I thought you were some skinny white dude. And I'd laugh and, you know, and I thought, cool, I'm onto something here. I get to be somebody that somebody's imagining. And that was pretty cool.
So did you go straight into radio from the Gentlemen's Club?
I did not. I had about a 2-month window where I was unemployed, and just by accident, I ended up at New Mexico State University, which is in southern New Mexico. Their university had a college radio station. Mm-hmm. And somehow I might have been a cousin of mine. He was delivering pizzas or making pizzas, and somehow put the bug in my ear, like, hey, you know, they're putting people to work, or they're hiring. And I thought, hiring? Yeah, I need a job. I did, you know, I was the DJ at the Red Flame in El Paso, Texas. So I can do radio. And it was more of an intern, but they let me. I wasn't even a student. So for the summer break up into probably the first semester, I got to be on the radio. And then that's when I met a program director who was working for a for-profit station. It was a top 40 station. And I went and auditioned, and I got 6 to midnight for top 40 station. And that was the height of the Britney Spears "Hit Me Baby One More Time" song, where I was like, oh, I hate this song.
Yeah.
But you know, you have to.
But you're on a prime time.
Well, no. And so 6 to midnight was very interesting because the audience is, you know, it's hit dinner or miss.
Time. Yeah.
It's dinner time. There's really no one there.
Putting the kids to bed.
Everything, every distraction you can think of. And so one of the things that I thought was really cool that I got to do was I got to call what they call Voicetrack, which was basically for about the last 2 hours from 10 to 12, I got to pre-record my voice, liners, and then just put it in the system, and however it was automated would beep, and my voice would come on and say, you're listening to blah, 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 and here's so-and-so. And so I got to go home and chill for a while. And then at that time, I was a new daddy, so uh, I got to give my girlfriend at the time a break, and I was with my son because I would sleep all day with him,
Hmm. Yeah.
and so we were we're up late, so it worked out really cool. And but it just wasn't for me. It wasn't a good fit.
Okay.
I didn't like top 40 rock and roll all day long. I just wanted to do something rock and roll. I don't care what it was. I
You
don't
didn't want
care
to
what
rock and roll
decade.
all night?
I wanted to rock and roll all night, not necessarily party all day, but So I got a call that there was a radio station that was going to hire middays, which was going to be 12 to 4. And I thought, okay. So I auditioned for an oldie station, and they put me to work, and I started doing the afternoon drive, and I started doing more and more voice commercials for people, and slowly but surely built up a really cool audience.
Hmm.
And a younger guy, well, we were at the same age, but he was there longer. They asked him if he wanted to do mornings, and he said yeah. So we tried it for a while, but he was he didn't have a family, he was young, so he wanted to go and hang out and do his thing, and so he said, I don't want to do mornings anymore. So they offered me the job, and I said, I'll take it.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, from 6 to 10, I got to do my morning show, and it was really taking off. And as much as I loved it, had a falling out with the general manager, maybe a little
Mm,
bit of my ego, small part.
yeah.
But then you radio wasn't paying very much at all. You're talking maybe $12,000 a year,
Oh,
which
wow.
with a baby, forget
Yeah,
it.
really.
And so I couldn't do anything with that. And I ended up leaving the radio station, and ended up where I'm at today, which is in northern New Mexico on the Hickory Apache Reservation. And from 2000, I moved here in 2001, and in 2002 ran for public office here, and I won, and been politics since 2002 to 2018, and loved every bit of it. I miss it to this day. I I call it my relationship, another divorce.
Yeah.
I divorced from that career that I fell so in love, and I'm still in love with that career, that if I see any part of it, I have to turn a blind eye because
Oh,
I'm
sure.
infatuated. And so I miss it. But the cool thing about it is, I got to do some really cool things for my community and surrounding communities. And everything's full circle, man, which is really cool about, the beauty of doors opening, which is another life lesson I
Yeah.
think we learn,
Well, speaking of going full circle, when you got back onto the territory, did um did you have like flashbacks of when you were raised on a territory? Or I mean, how much was changed, or how much, I did the full circle with the Seneca territory too in Western New York. So when I got back after school back to the territory, it was the more things change, the more things stay the same. So I'm kind of
so,
curious if that's the way it was for you as well.
well, I grew up here at a young age. My dad is the tribal member, my mother is not,
Hmm.
but they were high school sweethearts, and so we grew up here. We left in 1978 when my mother and father decided we needed to leave, and that's when they attended college in New Mexico State University. And so I had been off the reservation for all those years up until 2001 when I came back, other than
Hmm.
visiting. But there was a time where, and I joke about this, but I'm rather quite serious. If I had $1 million and someone said, will you ever move back to Dulce? I'd been like, no, what are you, crazy? Never, ever, ever. And, for some reason, something was pulling at me to either one, reconnect with my roots,
Yeah.
but two, reconnect with my misplaced, repressed anger toward my father.
Okay.
And I got to do both. And,
Okay.
not a lot of people get to do that, which is, I think, the beauty of why I feel so comfortable and why I think I love the aspect of being able to say no to being welcomed, and then repair these relationships and have so much more appreciation for them, that when they're gone, now I'm really missing them. So
Mhm.
yeah, I think now more so, maybe I put out, and sometimes I think I feel strongly that maybe I put out enough negative energy that it came back full circle to me now, which is
Okay.
why I'm not able to, be of some sort of public service. And when I say not, I think there's a little bit of me conceding that, I don't want to be a lifelong, even though I do, but I when I look at the reality of it, I don't want to be just clinging
Hmm.
on just because.
Yeah.
I really want to be of service and building something. So I think for me to have almost 18 years, and even now school board, 22 years of public service, I just want to try and show people that, when I use the term culture, yeah, you got your culture, your language, your religious beliefs, but there's culture about attitude, environment,
Sure.
all those things that come into play, the dynamics of a workplace.
Hmm.
And I just want people to see their value, and they don't have to rely on feeling like they're less than. And I think that's a big thing that, I at least I see, of being able to sit across the table from, and then on this side of the table at the same time, so I'm able to weave into to both sides of our culture
Sure.
and appreciate things much more. And so I learned a long time ago to hone that skill. So it was never about being condescending or disrespectful. It was absolutely being someone who can empower somebody to feel comfortable so they can take the torch and go forward,
Yep.
and not just take the torch. And then, in fact, I made this at my concession speech in 2018. I said, I looked back at the elected, newly elected, and I said, you have the torch now, and I hope you light the path and not burn down everything. And I
Yeah.
think I think some people took offense to that. And I think that's, again, speaks to some culture. Like, how dare you talk down to me like you're better than me? And no, that wasn't the furthest thing from the truth. I was upset I lost an election. I was upset at a lot of things, but it was really just a reminder that, if you're going to be driving some vehicle, metaphorically,
Hmm.
if I gave you the school bus keys to drive the kids to school, that is your responsibility to
Sure.
make sure you get them from A to B safe.
Right.
And I think some people forget in capacities of being at the table and looking down at people. And I think it's a real shame, but I've been really blessed with some great people in my life who have been able to, I respect them so much that they keep me grounded, because
Hmm.
one, I can share a story, but they can also say, well, hey, you might be, don't let it go to your head. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. So it's kind of cool to be able to have those relationships, and be able to have the diverse background that I do have, to be able to be here today on your maiden voyage
Yeah.
of
And I
what you've
appreciate you
been
being
doing,
here.
which is
Yeah.
really cool, because I know that you're a musician. You've played music for years, and then now you're doing this really cool thing with photography.
It's not bad.
It's, I mean, it's so cool that when when you reflect, and you just kind of, again, these doors, however they open, you just go through. And I know when you first started taking pictures, you were doing nature stuff, and
Hmm. Yeah.
and I know you probably had to be scared to death with, you know, well, should I go ask somebody to take their picture at a venue? Will they let me? And then now, you're all over the place, man.
Yeah. It's been a difficult trial by error um type of approach. because I found out kind of like what you had said, just you find your way. And I started at the casino because I worked at the casino. So you're bumping into the tour managers and you're saying,
Yeah.
hey, um, do you mind if I, take a few shots of the show? And more often than not, they're going to say, yeah, no problem. Just, don't be getting in the artist's face or anything like that. And once I moved out here to Long Island, I had still a small list of connections. So I had reached out to them and, oh yeah, we're going to be playing, so and so. Why don't you come out? I'd love to see you. So that's how I started getting into the clubs in the city. So from there, it's like, well, I think I really enjoy this. I love the atmosphere. I love live music. I love photography. So then I started reaching out to the local bands here in Long Island, and I'm hoping that once I get this podcast YouTube channel off the ground, I'm going to be able to reach out to those same musicians and say, hey, how about an interview, or this is what's going on, and hopefully they'll be able to help me out and do an interview. And same with the club owners as well. There's a lot of you don't want to just walk into some venue with your camera, pay your $10
Yeah.
to get in, and they're like, oh, hey, there's no cameras,
Mhm.
And like, well, I talked to the owner, but I should be on the list. But you don't want to step on anybody's feet,
You
and that's
tell me
kind of like how
about,
you learn.
you explained a little bit, I think, to me, but I know there's a story behind Long Island Sound.
Mhm.
What's that story?
Um, the North Shore of Long Island, the body of water is called Long Island Sound. That
Okay.
that separates Long Island and Connecticut, Rhode Island, and Massachusetts. So it's kind of like, because I'm on um, the music, it kind of like, well, sounds
No,
air.
I get it. I was
Yeah.
thinking more literal
Okay.
sound,
Yeah. Yeah.
Long Island Sound, and not the separation of, like, the Puget Sound. The Long Island Sound is that body of water,
Yeah.
but I think it works great. Yeah, no. So I that makes much more sense for me. I thought, well, is it like a big music scene? And again, that's how my brain works. I'm pretty ignorant, but yeah,
No,
I
you're not.
think, well, I'm pretty ignorant, but I think that works really well. And
Thank you.
I know that's, I believe, the name of of, I don't want to say company, but that's the name of that you're utilizing to be
My vessel.
your trademark, or your body to get you,
Yeah.
what you're doing, both pictures and now this.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see how everything pans out. But listen, I've got a couple more minutes. Tell us what the future holds for Mr. Leon Reval.
Well, I hope to at least branch out and do other things. I wrote a book,
Oh,
memoir, and
awesome.
it's, yeah, no, really cool. When people say, if I can do it, you can do it.
Oh,
it's
sure.
I'm the laziest guy ever, and I overthink, and I have all these quirks and vices. But the beauty of writing was I just got to my hunt and peck technique. I wish I was a cool typer, but I'm a hunt and pecker, which I think was my nickname in middle school. But that's a different story. But so I wrote a book, and we're looking book and on a future show, and I'm really proud of you. I think you're onto something here with
Yeah.
what you've already done, what you're already doing and done,
Hmm.
and soul as both person and somebody who is, I know, going to be helping others, not only promotion, but just get a story out, man. I think we need more
Sure.
stories, especially coming out of this pandemic. I think we kind of hit ourselves far too much, and so I'm really happy to be able to hear some cool stories from some of the people you've met in the
Yep.
industry, and
Oh, yeah.
and hear big things from them.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully, that'll do exactly that. Get a couple of names on here and tell some cool stories. I know some people with some cool stories, so hopefully they'll be open to suggestions. So,
Well, I love it,
Leon,
and I think every aspect of that too. So not just on stage, but those behind the stage, I think is really cool.
exactly. So, all right, Leon, thank you so much for your time, and we will definitely be talking again soon.
Rob, I appreciate the opportunity. I wish you my very best. I think you're
Thank
on
you,
to
sir.
something, my friend.
All right,
Much
awesome.
love.
Thank you. You too. Well, I hope you enjoyed that interview, getting to know myself and Mr. Leon Reval. And I'm hoping that's going to be part one of two because there are a few things that we didn't touch on. For now, thanks for tuning in to Long Island Sounds, and let's see where this goes. Have a great one, everybody.